Each night, as the bustling world winds down, the night shift begins its silent vigil. In the dimly lit corners of a popular fast food joint, I, a lone janitor, prepare for my nightly routine. The clang of the day's chaos fades, replaced by a more sinister silence. Here, amidst the lingering smells of fried food and cleaning agents, unfolds a night that challenges the boundaries of my rational mind. My shift starts typically with a checklist. Clean the grills, mop the floors, sanitize the dining area. The restaurant transforms from a place of lively chatter to a quiet, almost sacred space where only the hum of refrigerators accompanies me. It's therapeutic until it isn't. Tonight, the silence feels heavier, almost expectant, as if the shadows themselves are holding their breath. It's around midnight when the first anomaly occurs, a sharp knock. The sound slices through the quiet, a stark, chilling punctuation. I remove my headphones, the sense of isolation deepening as I approach the front door. Peering into the darkness, I find nothing. No figures, no movement, just the empty, night-shrouded parking lot. The quiet mocks me and I retreat, unsettled yet trying to convince myself it was just my imagination. Later, as I stand by the drive-through window, the night's silence breaks again, this time with a face. A man, his hair unkempt, his eyes hollow, stares in through the glass. The sight of him, so unexpected, so out of place, sends a jolt of fear through me. His gaze, empty yet intense, seems to pierce through the night, through the window, through me. My heart races, adrenaline coursing as I step back. The man turns, disappearing as silently as he appeared. I lock the window, my hands shaking. The remainder of the night, I'm haunted by his eyes, those vacant, eerie pools that seemed not to see, but to look right through. Every shadow twitches with potential danger, every noise a possible harbinger of his return. The courage to face the darkened parking lot takes time to muster. When I finally step outside to dispose of the trash, he is there again. His presence is both surreal and terrifyingly real. Words freeze in my throat as he advances. My safety, suddenly fragile, compels my legs to move, to run. The chase is a blur of fear-fueled instinct. My key fumbles into the lock, a clumsy yet desperate attempt at salvation. The door slams shut just as his hand reaches through. My breath comes in sharp bursts as I sprint, the cold night air burning my lungs. Safety feels like a distant dream as I plunge into the darkness beyond the restaurant's lights. The police arrive, their questions a dull echo to the night's terror. The CCTV footage offers no solace, just the haunting image of the man, his figure a ghostly imprint on the digital recording. His motivations remain a mystery, his identity obscured by shadow and unanswered questions. Days turn into weeks, and the incident replays in my mind. Who was he? What did he want? The lack of answers leaves a void, filled only by unease and speculation. The memory of his face, just outside the window, lingers long after the night ends. The aftermath is a tangled mess of nerves. Shadows no longer feel benign, and every shift carries a weight of anxiety. I find solace in small rituals, in conversations with colleagues who work the daylight shifts, seeking to rebuild a sense of normalcy. The terror of that night shift remains vivid, a stark reminder of the fragility of our everyday normalcy, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit when faced with the inexplicable shadows of life. As I continue to work through the night, each shift is a small act of defiance against the fear, revealing the psychological and emotional impact of an unexpected and unsettling encounter. This essay explores a harrowing experience during a routine night shift at a fast food restaurant, delves into the terror of facing the unknown and the lasting effects it can have on one's sense of security and mental well-being. The night was draped in a thick blanket of rain, the kind that muffles sound and dims the world to a shadow of its usual self. At the gas station, nestled in the heart of town, the glow of fluorescent lights fought against the dark. Inside, I braced for a night of solitude, broken only by the rare visitor in need of fuel. Expectations of a quiet shift were high, influenced by the stormy weather and the late hour. It was nearing midnight when headlights pierced the monotony. A car pulled up, abrupt and unexpected. The driver, a shadowy figure, lingered by the vehicle. I watched, curiosity piqued and then quickly drowned by unease as the man seemed to stare through the store windows, fixated. Minutes stretched into an eternity as I watched the man. When curiosity overcame caution, I checked the register. The pump he was supposedly using hadn't recorded a sale in hours. Alarm bells rang in my mind, a cold realization setting in. I retreated, seeking the imagined safety of the counter. The early hours brought a new terror. Footsteps, distinct and unnerving, approached the back where employees only wandered during the day. The metal door, a barrier between routine and threat, became my focus as the handle jiggled gently, tested by an unseen force. My heart raced, time slowed. The sharp scrape of metal against the door marked an aborted intrusion. With trembling hands, I dialed 911. The officers arrived with urgency, their presence a brief comfort. They found the car abandoned nearby, its details sketching a story of theft and desperation. The vehicle, with its mismatched plates, was a silent testament to the night's sinister turn. The dawn broke with a tired light, the events of the night lingering like a bad dream. Reflections on my vulnerability were unavoidable. The solitude of the night shift, once a peaceful solitude, now felt like an exposed outpost on the edge of safety. The night shift at the gas station had always been uneventful until fear intruded, unwelcome and unanticipated. The solitude I once enjoyed was now tinged with the knowledge of what could lurk in the shadows. As the sun reclaimed the sky, I realized that the night shift was more than a job. It was a nightly gamble with the unknown.
The fluorescent lights hummed, casting a sterile glow over the deserted office. Sarah, hunched over her keyboard, was the lone soul left in the building. Deadlines loomed, demanding her attention long after her colleagues had gone home. Outside, the city slumbered, its silence amplifying the isolation within. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of stale coffee and printer toner. Papers rustled on her desk, the only sound breaking the oppressive quiet. Sarah stretched, her joints cracking in the stillness. A shiver ran down her spine, a sudden chill that had nothing to do with the air conditioning. She glanced at the clock, 11:47 p.m. Time blurred when she was lost in work, but now the lateness of the hour pressed upon her. A sense of unease crept in, a feeling she quickly dismissed as fatigue. A low creak echoed through the hallway, the sound magnified in the silence. Sarah froze, her blood turning to ice. The hairs on her arms stood on end. She strained her ears, listening for any further sound. Silence. She dismissed it as the old building settling, a common occurrence. Yet, the unsettling feeling persisted, growing heavier with each passing moment. The air grew thick, suffocating, as if an unseen presence had entered the room. Sarah tried to focus on her work, but the words blurred on the screen. Her heart pounded against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the quiet backdrop of the night. The distinct click of a door latch made her jump. It came from the far end of the office near the supply closet. Her eyes darted towards the sound, her breath catching in her throat. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, they echoed on the tiled floor, coming closer. Panic clawed at her throat. She was no longer alone. Reason battled with fear. Perhaps it was a security guard making his rounds. But why was he so quiet? And why hadn't she heard him enter the building?